Now, Bleach is an anime that is widely known for the amount of powerful groups that exist within it. I mean, we had the Espadas pretty early on, then we had the Quincy's in Thousand Year Blood War, we had the Fullbringers, but the Soul Society stands out as one of the strongest groups in all of Bleach. And this is mainly due to the insane roster that the Soul Society possesses. I mean, they have the Gote 13, which is the 13 captains of the 13 divisions. And each captain is without a doubt a top tier in the verse, with some of them being in the top 10. And not only do you have the Gote 13, which is already a crazy roster, but you also have Squad 0, which is said to be more powerful than the Gote 13. And each member of Squad 0 has the power to shake all three realms by themselves. So the Soul Society probably has the craziest lineup of characters we have ever seen. However, there is another very interesting and intriguing group within the series of Bleach, and that group is known as the 5 War Potentials. For those of you who don't know what the 5 War Potentials are or who they are, basically the 5 War Potentials were the 5 people Yuha feared the most during Thousand Year Blood War. Yuha saw them as the 5 people that were capable of turning the tides of the war against him and allowing the Soul Society to win. And let's go over who these 5 people are. The 5 War Potentials include Kenpachi, Ichibei, Aizen, Urahara, and our main character, Ichigo Kurosaki. And each War Potential is dangerous and feared for their own respective reasons. You had Ichigo, who was feared for his potential and his insane potential to keep growing stronger and stronger as he always did in the Bleach series. You have Kenpachi, who's categorized as the War Potential due to his raw power, and he easily has some of the best raw power in the entire series. Ichibei was selected for his wisdom, which makes sense because Ichibei has been around longer than the Soul Society has been. Aizen was feared due to his overwhelming Reiatsu capabilities, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious to everyone how terrifying Aizen's Reiatsu is. And Urahara was ranked as a war power due to his unpredictability. So all 5 of these characters were seen as major threats to Yuha and his plans. And if Yuha sees you as a threat, then that means you are doing something right. Because Yuha is by far one of the most powerful individuals in the entire verse, if not the most powerful individual. So if he is threatened by you, best believe you are strong in your own way. So considering how strong the Soul Society is and the 5 War Potentials are on their own, the question came into mind. Who would win in a fight? The entirety of the Soul Society or the 5 War Potentials? The 5 characters Yuha feared more than anyone. Now, before we get started, we first have to clarify which version of the Soul Society we're going to use, because there's been plenty of different versions of the Soul Society throughout the series. I think it's best if we use the strongest version of the Soul Society, which is the Soul Society post Thousand Year Blood War. Soul Society after the Thousand Year Blood War arc has a Toshiro who has True Bankai Byakuya, True Bankai Mayuri, characters who are fighting on equal levels with Yuha's Royal Guards, some of the strongest characters in the entire series. So it's pretty obvious that overall, the Soul Society that we see after Thousand Year Blood War is the strongest version of them. And for obvious reasons, we are going to exclude Ichibei and Kenpachi from the Soul Society because they are part of the 5 War Powers. So it's the 5 War Powers up against the Soul Society post Thousand Year Blood War and 4 out of the 5 members of Squad 0. Now let's go over the competition on both sides, starting off with the heavy hitters on the Soul Society side. Now the 4 biggest heavy hitters on the side of the Soul Society would include the remaining members of Squad 0 that we're counting, that being Tanjiro, Kiryu, Oetsu, and Senjumaru. It's already been stated that if these 4 use even the slightest bit of their power, the heaven and the earths will tremble. That should already tell you the magnitude of their power. However, there is a catch to them. We know that within the 4 of them exists a blood oath seal. Basically, while the 4 of them are alive, neither one of them can use their true powers. That's why in the finale of Thousand Year Blood War Course 2, 3 out of the 4 members had to actually unalive themselves in order for Senjumaru to gain full access to all of her power. So even though the Soul Society has 4 Squad Zero members on their side, realistically, it would be better if they had just one member that wasn't nerfed and was able to go all out. Because as long as all of them are alive, they are all nerfing each other. So the Soul Society wouldn't get the truest extent of Squad Zero's power. Therefore, it would be better if only one member was alive. And in this scenario, we're just going to use Senjumaru because that's who they used in the Thousand Year Blood War anime as an example. So you have Senjumaru, who is probably the biggest threat on the side of the Soul Society, without a doubt. Now, regarding the captains, almost every captain, as I mentioned previously, is a top tier by the end of the series. However, the ones that are the biggest threat would be Shunsui, Hoshiro, Byakuya, and Mayuri. Now, I know that many of you might be thinking that Shinji would be super useful in this scenario due to his Bankai. However, his Bankai would not do anything here because he stated himself that characters like Ichigo, Aizen, and Yuha would be unaffected by his Bankai due to their insane Reiatsu difference. So again, the biggest threats that the Soul Society has on their side are Senjumaru, and then out of the captains, it would be Shunsui, Byakuya, Mayuri, and Toshiro. Now the question is, how would all of these characters fare against the 5 war powers? And honestly, I think the 5 war powers would still win by a complete landslide. First things first, you guys need to realize every single member of the Gotei 13 is already under Aizen's Kyoko Suigetsu. Yeah, if you guys don't remember, Aizen casted his Kyoko Suigetsu on the entirety of the Gotei 13, and every current member of the squad is still under Aizen's Kyoko Suigetsu. So chances are, Aizen alone would probably be able to sweep through the majority of the Gotei 13, if not the entire Gotei 13, all by himself. You also have Ichigo, who has some of the best raw power in the entire series, because he was able to cut down the Soul King, and then was able to cut down Yuha, who had absorbed the Soul King. And we know that in Bleach, to be able to damage somebody, your Reiatsu output needs to be on the same level or greater than that person that you're trying to damage. So Ichigo possibly has greater Reiatsu output than the Soul King himself. We also have Ichibei, who was directly implied to be stronger than the rest of Squad Zero combined, considering that Ichibei is able to go all out anytime he wants without any restrictions. And also, he's not even considered in the Blood Oath for the other members while they're holding back their power. So there are levels to Ichibei's power compared to the other members of Squad Zero. You have Kenpachi, who was carrying Byakuya and Toshiro during their fight against Gerard, and quite frankly, Byakuya and Toshiro's best feats come from that said fight, and you had Kenpachi outperforming the both of them combined. Urahara is definitely the weakest link when it comes to the 5 war powers, but he makes up for his lack of power with his intelligence, considering that he is the smartest character in all of Bleach. Aizen himself has admitted that Urahara's intelligence surpasses his. So you have potentially the 4 most powerful characters in the entire verse, along with the most intelligent character in the entire verse, all teamed up together. So even though the Soul Society, along with Senjumaru, completely outnumbers the 5 war powers, the 5 war powers are still going to heavily dominate this entire fight. The entire Soul Society had to band together just to stop Aizen alone, and this was a weaker version of Aizen before he had even fused with the Hogyoku fully. And their only hope to stopping Aizen was Ichigo. What are they gonna do now that Ichigo and Aizen are teamed up together, along with 3 other members that are just as dangerous? Any of the 5 war powers besides Urahara would be able to probably deal with Senjumaru on their own, and then the rest of the 4 remaining members would just wipe the floor with the Gotei 13. Once again, as powerful as the Soul Society is, as insane of a lineup as they have, they simply do not compare to the 5 War Powers. The 5 War Powers are undoubtedly the strongest group in all of Bleach. Anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what other videos you guys want to see in the future. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.